Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm bringing you news that has fans holding their breath. Are we watching the end of one of the most talked about couples right now? For months, actor Yaman and Italian disc jockey Sarah Bluma seem to be living a movie-like romance. Romantic photos, affectionate holidays, passionate messages, everything very visible and intense. Then suddenly, something changed, and social media exploded. What happened was simple but powerful. They stopped following each other on Instagram. And of course, that set off every alarm. Because these days, an unfollow sounds almost like an official statement. But here's the strange part. Their photos together are still there. They didn't delete memories. They didn't post explanations. They didn't say anything. It's like they're saying, something is going on, but also, we're not fully closing the door. From that moment on, comments split into two camps. Some believe it's a real crisis and that they're creating distance. Others are convinced it's a strategic move to keep attention on them. And the silence from both only fuels more theories. Sarah Bluma hasn't said a word. Yaman hasn't either. Both seem calm, as if nothing happened, and that makes the mystery bigger. Meanwhile, people close to Sarah have hinted at an interesting version. According to them, she isn't ready to break things off completely. They say feelings cooled because of the relationship's intense pace and over time, but that there's still something she doesn't want to let go of. There's even talk that she wants a clearer, more transparent relationship. On Can's side, the word is that he's fully focused on new projects. His career is moving fast, and some sources claim he's putting work ahead of everything. For some, that explains the distance. For others, the doubt returns. What if this is just a pause and not an ending? Fans have also built their own hypotheses. That Can's schedule made things hard, that Sarah might have felt jealous, that follower pressure was too much, that he was away too often, and she was left alone. No one has proof, but the silence makes any theory feel possible. And to top it off, another theme keeps coming up. So much exposure, so many photos in Paris and Milan, so much public love. And now, suddenly, this shadow. Some say the relationship was jinxed by outside eyes. Superstition or not, it shows how much people are talking. So the big question remains in the air. A definitive breakup or just a short break? Are we seeing the end of a story or the start of a reconciliation? For now, everything depends on one thing: when they will speak. As soon as there's a statement or a clear gesture, I'll be back with all the details. What do you think? Real crisis or strategy? I'm reading you in the comments. Every time I see Demet Özdemir's name resurfacing alongside Yaman's, one thing becomes clear to me. Demet has been turned into a canvas on which many people paint nostalgia, illusions, or anger depending on the moment. And to me, that's deeply unfair, because when I read the comments going around, I feel she's mentioned less as a real person today and more as a symbol. The couple some still idealize, the era others believe ended bitterly, the piece supposedly missing to make a story feel perfect again. And honestly, I don't think Demet should have to carry that endless movie. The first thing I notice is how tired many people are of the sense of manipulation. Some say that after the Sandokan presentation, a huge romantic announcement could arrive to cover up any scandal, as if everything were calculated to the millimeter. We don't know if that will happen, but the suspicion already says a lot. Trust has been damaged. And when trust breaks, any public gesture is read as marketing. In that climate, Demet gets trapped too, even if she does nothing. Her name returns not because of what she says now, but because of what others imagine it might mean tomorrow. It really bothers me to see part of the fandom treating the Candymet story like a product that can be reactivated whenever convenient, as if Demet were stored in a box, ready to be pulled out when a romantic twist or a smokescreen is needed. That way of looking at a woman as a tool for someone else's narrative feels reductive to me. Demet has her own path, a public identity that doesn't depend on returning to any romance, and yet people keep dragging her back there again and again. I'm also struck by the general tone of some comments, full of aggression and distrust toward the woman of the moment, or the lies. Even if those lines were aimed at someone else, they come from an environment where the women around Can are judged extremely harshly. Demet doesn't escape that logic. It's as if, for some people, women in these stories can only be flawless angels or opportunistic villains. There's no middle ground, no right to change, no space to simply move on. If Demet doesn't show up, it's read as coldness. If she does, it's assumed to be calculation. It's an absurd trap. That's why, when I think about Demet in all this noise, I don't see her as someone pulling strings, but as someone who's been given a label she never asked for. Some fans remember her fondly because she represents a brighter, simpler, or prettier time for them. But other people's nostalgia isn't her responsibility. No one should have to live up to someone else's memories. It makes far more sense to accept that that story, if it existed as people tell it or imagine it, belongs to the past, and that Demet today is somewhere else with different priorities. And speaking of priorities, what matters to me about her is exactly what stays outside the gossip. Her work, her ability to build characters, to maintain a public presence without feeding on constant scandal. That's why I hate seeing her name used only to fill in a romantic narrative. It's like the public has two buttons: Demet Ideal Partner and Demet Media Weapon, and can't see her as a complete artist. I don't want that cutout Demet. I prefer the Demet who doesn't fit the script others try to write for her. In the end, my feeling is that Demet is stuck inside a conversation she doesn't control. People invoke her name to attack someone or to rescue someone, to justify strategies or soothe fandom frustrations. And she's probably just living her life without that collective need to rebuild a perfect story. I see her as freer than many want to admit, and maybe that's why her name creates so much noise. In short, I don't believe Demet is a movable piece in a commercial plan or a secondary character in Can's life. I see her as a woman turned into a myth by the public, for better or worse, who pays the price of that mythification every time her name circulates again without any real reason. I hope people let her breathe outside that frame, because Demet doesn't need to return to any fairy tale to have value. She already has her voice, her career, and her own story. And that should be enough.